Hello, my name is Tobias Kramer. I would like to introduce you to the board game Space Action. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, lasts about 90 minutes, and can be played from the age of 10. In short words, it's a cooperative and competitive space strategy game. The players choose a specialist group in a corresponding color. Each specialist group has its special characteristics: a base on Earth, astronauts, and a rocket. The game is played in rounds, and within the rounds, alternately in actions. Players can collect victory points in different ways. How this works, I will explain later on. The game is over when Saturn completes its orbit at a predetermined point. Then the player with the most victory points wins. First, I would like to show you the game material and then the game rounds, some game rounds, for example, as an example. So let's have a look at the material. I said every player chooses a specialist group and a color. So in this case, I show you the yellow player, the technologist. On the left-hand side, on the top, you see a player card where you can read and find the advantages this group has and which conditions to gain victory points. Underneath, you have some tokens, player tokens. Later on in the game, you use them to put them on the boards in the center of the game. I show you later. Then you have the player board. It's a neutral board, and it represents the base on Earth of the player. There you have your action points where you can do action with. You pay. It's like a currency. You pay with action points in order to do actions. You have a rocket where you can load in things. You have a physical rocket. You can fly to the planets and the moons. Here you have an overview over your actions. There are 6 different actions you can do, and you pay them in action points. You have 4 astronauts you can use to do different things. And here you can manage your victory points, some of your victory points and your research points. And on the bottom, you have developments. You can improve your astronauts, your robots, your production, your missions and complexes. Okay. The overall playing material for every player is here on the top is the modules. They are in clusters for specialist groups, and they are kind of buildings the players bring to the planets and moons in order to colonize the players. It's, for example, you can imagine it's a habitat or power plants, stuff like that. Rocket bases, for example. So then the next thing is you have resources, tokens for resources. There are 3 different resources players can mine on planets and moons. And on the left-hand side, you have 64 complexes. The complexes are bigger building structures consisting mainly of modules and resources. And the players can build them on the planets and moons. And on the right-hand side, you have 64 missions the players can accomplish during the game in order to gain mainly extra victory points. Okay, here you have the heart of the game. It's a solar system representing 4 different planets available here in this game, and with their orbits. And this is the first one is Earth. Then you have Mars, you have Jupiter, and Saturn. They get moved during the game in every round, so the constellations vary in all the time, and the flight costs in between the planets also vary. Here you have a marker or a token, and this token shows where the game ends. When it just ends when Saturn finishes its orbit at this point here, and then the last game round starts. On the right hand side, you have something like a trade area on Earth where you can trade in resources for victory points or research points or action points, for example. Then we have the planets. The first planet here is Mars. The Earth is represented on the player board, and Mars is here the first planet where you can colonize. And it's you also have here, as I said, Jupiter and Saturn, and the structure and the look of the planets is always the same. That's why I explain it here, representative on Mars. So the first thing is, on every planet you have, on the top you have depots with modules and robots. These are depots every player can use. It's companies or governments, they send it in advance in advance of a colonization of planets. They send rockets without humans to the planets in order to establish some modules and tools and stuff the colonists need. So and later on, when the rockets with the humans come, they already have equipment they can use. So every player is able to take to go in the depots and use the stuff in there. And as I said, it's there are some modules and some robots in it. And the at the beginning of the game, when you prepare the game, this is always taken on random, so it varies in every game the which modules you will find in the depots. And yeah, and it's the same with the mines we have on the planet Mars. We have different mines. It's also randomly, so it could be that you only have one different resource or two different resources. In this case, we have three different resources already on the planet. You can also see that the surface is divided into different areas or sectors. We have 4 different sectors. This is later on important in the game. You can dominate sectors with your modules, and every player has its own color modules. For example, the yellow player has the yellow modules, as you can see. And when he has if one player has more modules of his own color in a sector than other players, then he dominates the sector and he gets extra victory points at the end. It doesn't mean that only the yellow player can use yellow modules, or later on you will see yellow complexes, but the yellow player always has advantages with his own color modules and complexes. It's the same with the blue player or the red or the green player. So this is also the next point. You can see on the left hand side on the bottom, the green complexes and the yellow complexes, they gain extra research points if they are built on this planet. This also varies in every game, so it's randomly taken, or you put it on there on random, so it's different in every game. And on the right hand side you can also see the victory points. You get extra victory points for yellow complexes and blue complexes. So what else do we have? We have blank space on the bottom, and this is on purpose because there you can build on this. This is important to leave the space when you prepare the game, because here you can put the complexes you are building. The cards I showed earlier before, you can put them here. And at the beginning of the game, you have 4 blank spaces where you can build complexes. Later on, if the depots get emptied, you gain more building spaces for complexes. At the end, you have in a maximum 8 spaces to build complexes on each planet. And this is also necessary, especially if you're playing with 4 players. So, as you can see, Saturn and Jupiter, it's the same kind of setting you will find at the beginning of the game. And the only difference is that Jupiter itself cannot be colonized because it's a planet made of gas. So it's one of the plenty moons. It's called Ganymede you're playing on. You can colonize, and it's the same on Saturn. It's the moon Rhea. So that's the only difference. And you also have the blank spaces on the bottom of the planets where you can build the complexes later on. So now we have the whole game material. So this is the setup usually, and now I show you how you can start the game. Before that, you have to do a last thing, and this is you have to draw. Every player draws. I just play with the yellow player now. Every player draws at the beginning 5 different complexes and chooses 3 out of them. So in order to make it fast, I've already selected 3 complexes. I'll turn them, I flip them. So, and what happens to the other 2 complexes you don't choose, you put them back, but you don't put them back on the cards, you just put them beside the cards. So, and open that you can see them, because later on, if you switch complexes, the players can also switch complexes and missions, and they can draw a new card, or they can take them out of this package. So, and the same, later on. First of all, I will explain the complexes. So, why I've chosen these complexes, for example, because there are a lot of different criteria where you should use or choose a complex, and this I will explain now to you. The first thing is the player can build the complex on every planet he wants. He does not need to go to Mars or something. He can go to Mars, he can go to Saturn or Jupiter, and this it's of course, if you go further, if you go the far distance to Saturn, for example, it's more expensive to go there, to bring modules there and stuff like that, equipment. So, but the reward might also be higher. So you also have to think of what are you doing, and if the first decision is I'm the yellow player right now, so for me, yellow complexes are always interesting because I get every build own color complex. I receive automatically 3 victory points. It even doesn't matter if I have built this and finished this complex, or another player has done it. For every yellow complex that is built in this game, I receive automatically 3 victory points. So I will always have a look for yellow complexes, of course, as the yellow player. The same with the green player or the blue player. So, for example, we have here the subterranean data center. You can see this is what the building looks like, and the complex structure. You receive 2 research points if you build this thing, and on the bottom you have the plan how to build it, and I need 2 yellow modules, buildings of the first generation of the yellow modules, and I need 1 blue of the first generation of the blue modules, and a silver resource. Okay, so I know what to do. I know what I get, and I know what I have to do. So I check, for example, the first planet. I'll check the depots. I have a look at the depots, and I can see it's only 1 module which is already there. So I have to bring, it's the blue one. The 2 yellows I need, I don't have on the planet. 2 different yellows here already there. So that means I have to bring 2 modules with my rocket to Mars in order to finish this complex on Mars, if I want to build it on Mars. And I also have a silver mine, so that makes it more easier. I can produce silver just on Mars. So that's the thing. That's one point of thinking. Is it easy or is it difficult to build it there? So if I look on the reward, I can see the yellow complexes, they get extra research points if I build them, and they get extra victory points if I build them there. So that's an argument to build them on Mars, the yellow complexes. If I have a look at the next planet, I can see on Jupiter it's different. On Jupiter, I already have every module I need, all the modules I need in 1 depot also. That means I have less, how do you say, I have to do less effort to build it on Jupiter. And it's even only in 1 depot. I just need 1 astronaut to put him there, to put into the depot to get the modules I show you later. So that's quite easy to build it on Jupiter. But on the other hand, and I also have a silver mine, that's also good. But on the other hand, I have a problem. I don't get extra research points for yellow buildings or complexes, and I don't get extra victory points for yellow complexes. So that's a disadvantage. And if I have a look on Saturn, I can see I have 1 yellow module I need, but I need 2 of them, and I have the blue one. So I must only bring 1 yellow module with me. It's always in the case that no other player takes this module before me. So then I also have to bring everything if I'm too late, for example. But in the best condition, I can get all of these. I plan it and I get all of these modules out of the depots. So that means that's not so bad. And silver is also on Saturn. And I also get 3 extra victory points if I build it on Saturn, but I don't get extra research points if I build it on Saturn. So that's just a quick example for the yellow complex, which arguments to have to build it on a planet, or not to build it on a planet. So if I have a look at the next complex, it's the orbital complex beta. This complex you can only build in 1 planet once. But on the other hand, it gets extra victory points if it's built on different planets at the same time. It doesn't matter if you have built it or another player has built it. If it's on 2 or 3 planets at the same time, built, finished, then you get 4 victory points instead of only 2 if it's only built on Mars, for example. And this is for every player. It doesn't matter who is it. Every player who has a contribution in building of this, contributed into the building of this complex, will receive the reward. On this side, on the resource, you can also see it doesn't matter which resource you put in. So that's also more easy. You don't have a special resource. Okay, and then we have the last of the 3 complexes. This is a blue complex from the and it's a gas mine. And here's, for example, you get the 2 research points, but you have to bring in 3 different blue modules and 1 red. So you have to bring in more modules than in the other complexes. You have to bring in a gold resource, and you can also gain extra victory points at the end of the game when this building is finished. It must be finished, and if you put in an astronaut or a robot in here at the end, you will receive 3 victory points. If you put in another one in here, you also receive in all you will receive 5 victory points for this building. So this is what makes you think, what are you doing? You have a lot of possibilities, advantages, disadvantages, and once you have chosen, you have your 3 complexes, you have your strategy where you build them, and the next thing is you take 5 missions. 3 missions. Just here. Okay. You'll have a look on it. You can show them to the other players, it doesn't matter. So, and we have a look at the first one. The first one is you have to dominate 2 sectors, doesn't matter which one, on Mars with your modules. That's what I said before. If my modules are the yellow modules, but they are not only for me, but I have an advantage out of them. And everybody can use yellow modules and yellow complexes, but I'm the only player, I'm the yellow player that has the advantage out of the yellow buildings. And if I dominate 2 sectors, I get extra 2 victory points for domination. The special about this mission is that you have to on the top you can see L2, that means level 2. You need to do research on level 2 missions in order to be able to accomplish them. This I will show you also later on. And then we have the next mission. You have to control 2 robots on Ganymed, at least 2 robots. That means you have to, they must be activated by yourself, and at least two robots at the end of the game, and then you get 3 victory points. And the last mission, you have to finish. You have to finish a red complex on the Saturn moon Rhea, and that will give you 4 victory points. It doesn't matter which red complex. This is just an example. It's not this one you need to build. It's just any red complex. Okay. Okay, now we are ready. We can play. Everything is prepared. You have your 3 complexes, your 3 missions. You have your player board, and you can start. And just a brief introduction. Again, in the player board on the left hand side you have action points. Every player begins with 10 action points at the beginning. You have a rocket. The rocket has 4 spaces where you can put in each space you can put in modules. 1 module for 1 space, of course. Only 1 astronaut, 1 resource, or 1 robot. That's what you can load in your rocket, and you can load 4 units in it. And you have the rocket itself that flies from Earth. It's starting at Earth, and you can fly with it to any planet in the game. Then you have these actions, and I can show you. You have 6 actions you can play. The first one is load. That means I can load, unload, load in, load out modules and resources. I can, and this costs me 3 action points each loading, but I can only load once. If I take a module and put it into the rocket and I fly after it afterwards with the rocket, I cannot unload the module in the same round. I have to wait a round, and then in the next round I can move it again or load it again. The same with the second action, the moving of the astronauts. I can move each astronaut once per round. I can only move it once per round, but I can do another thing with him. For example, produce something later in the same round. It's another action, but the same action I can only do once with each unit I have. So I can move the astronaut into the rocket. It costs me 3 action points. I fly the rocket and I land on Mars in the same round, but I cannot move the astronaut again, the same astronaut. Only once per round I can move him. So the next thing is the action number 3 is control robots. I can control a robot. That means I can move the robot, and the robot belongs to me. It's marked with a yellow token. I show you later on, and I control it. I can move it. It's the same like with the astronaut. Then I can fly the rocket. The cost of the flight I will show you soon when we fly. It's not 3 action points. It depends on the distance. You have to calculate it, and also the rocket you can only fly once per round. Okay. Then we have the 5th action. It's production. You can produce resources in the game with the help of robots or astronauts, or you can produce the resources on mines or next to mines, and you can produce research points with the help of astronauts or robots, and you can do this on complexes, on finished complexes only. When they are totally built, you can produce research points in it. And this also you can do only once per round per unit. So the last action, the number 6, is switch. You can switch missions and complexes, as many as you want and as you can, as long as you have enough action points. And if you don't like a mission or complex, you can change it, swap it. So that's what I have to say about the actions. And I think I will just start, and the other things here I can show you during the game. So I have chosen that I will build the yellow complex on Mars because it's the shortest way, and I gain extra victory points and extra research points on Mars, and that's why I will start with this. So this is my plan: build the yellow complex on Mars. So first of all, I need 2 modules, right? Because I don't have them on Mars in the depots already. So I'll take them out of the storage, put them in here. I load them. That's the first action, loading. This costs me 3 action points per unit. So this makes 6 action points. So I have 4 action points left. Then I need an astronaut, because without an astronaut you can do not a lot of things on the planets. So you need somebody who's doing actions for you, and this is moving astronaut. I'll do that, and I have left 1 action point because it costs 3 action points as well. So now I'm already finished because I only have 1 action point left. There's one thing I could fly, maybe, because I only have 1 action point, and the flight might be 1 action point just for me because I'm the technologist, and I have the advantage that I fly for less compared to the other players. So for each flight, I can subtract 2 action points. I have to pay a minimum of 1 action point per flight, but that's what I have. So we have a look at the solar system. Okay, and I check it, and so the constellation is horrible for that, because right now Mars and Earth are on opposite ways, and there's no direct connection. So I cannot fly, for example, left and then right and make this this flight is impossible, because in physics it's not possible to fly a rocket like that. So you always have to choose a direction and stay in this direction, and that's the only way. It doesn't matter in which way I go, it's the same, because it's on the opposite side. So if I go fly here, I fly as long as possible in the inner circle, in the inner orbit, because it's the cheapest. So this costs me 3 action points. I make an addition, and then I change the orbit on this side. So this is 5 and 7. So I have to pay 7 action points in order to get to Mars from Earth. I can take off 2 action points. That means I have to pay 5 action points for this flight, but I don't have 5 action points. I only have 1. So I cannot, it's impossible to do that. Maybe in the next round it's possible. So I finish my round. The next player is playing, and if every player has played, the round is finished. So now what happens after the first round? One player takes all the planets and moves them just one field counterclockwise on the orbit. So now you can see the constellation between Earth and Mars is perfect. It's only 2 action points, so that will cost me only 1 action points to get there, instead of 5 before. So then, before I start doing something, everybody gets an income. It doesn't matter if you deserve it or not, you just get it. So it means plus 10 action points each round for every player. So I have 11 now. Okay. Now I can start. I can continue. I fly to Mars, and we have seen it costs me only 1 action point. So I will put this down on 10. I move my rocket. It doesn't matter where you put it. It's not important to put it in a special place. Now I fly. I have made my flight, and now I unload. I can now unload the modules because it's the second round, and I put them. And now is the question, where do I put them? Because this is, you also have to think about it. But before I do that, I will adjust something. I straighten them out. So that looks better. And that's not where I put them. So I want to have as many as possible dominations in sectors. So that's why I put them in different sectors, in sector 4 and sector 1. And I also put them together. I don't need to put them together like this. I can also put it like this. But I will do it. I put them together because there's the mine. And it's good to have the modules next to the mine. I will explain later why. Okay, so you also have to think about in this game where you put your modules. Now I have the domination right now. At this point of the game, I have a domination in sector 1 and sector 4. This can change, of course, if other players are coming and putting different modules. But right now, it's like this. So I have to pay 6 action points. That means I have left 4 action points. Now I have an astronaut in the rocket. He also wants to get out. So I move him into this depot. Because if I want to use something from the depots, I have to put in an astronaut or a robot in order to do something in there, to work in there. They work in there. So I have one action point left. I have my astronaut in the depot. I cannot fly again. It's not possible because I made already one flight. So I have to wait. Mm, exactly. So I'm thinking about. Okay. Yeah, I've almost forgot something. I've put these modules on the surface. So that means I already started to build this complex and I have to put it here. I have to put it on this blank space on the bottom of the planet. And I also have to indicate that I made this. I am responsible for this complex. I built two modules and I show it to the other players that I made this effort. And now it could be that another player is coming and builds the blue module and puts his own marker, his green, red, or blue marker in here. It's possible. And then he also gets a share of the victory points later on. So it's that's how the game works. And yeah, and I also get 2 research points for. I get 2 research points for this complex because I build it. You get once, you get research points, and I get 1 extra because it's a yellow complex. So what can I do with the research points? I can put them into my account and save them for later on, or I will use 2 of them and save 1. So I will already develop my complexes and my missions, and that means the number of complexes on hand plus 1 and the number of missions on hand plus 1. So that gives me more chances. And because I built this complex already, I can also draw one. So this is the one I can take because I already built one. So, and then I can take another one because now I can have 4 on my hand, and I take this one which is already here because this is a quite interesting complex. I'll show you. It's a terraformer. I need to develop level 2 for complexes, otherwise I cannot build it. And then I need a yellow complex which is already built on the planet. So that's no problem because I already have a yellow complex, and I can also start building this complex at the same time, even if the other one is not finished yet. But at the end of the game, if I want to have the victory points, of course the complex must be finished, and both complexes must be finished. I cannot lay this yellow complex. I cannot start building it if I don't have the level 2 developed. That's what I cannot do. But I can start it if I have the level 2 research developed. I can start it even if the yellow complex is the other yellow complex is not finished yet. So that's what you have to remember. And what's interesting, you get 3 research points, which is quite a lot if you build it, and you get double victory points, and that's for every player. Every player who takes part in building this or contributes something to this building will receive the victory points at the end, the double victory points. So that's a quite mighty building. And I get another mission as well, because now I can keep 4 missions on my hand. And this is also about domination of sectors. And here you have you have to dominate one sector on Mars. It doesn't matter which one, and one on Ganymede with your modules. So you can see, and it's also a level 2 mission. But you can see I get 3 victory points, and if I'm clever in the game, I can combine the missions and my actions during the game, because here I also have gain extra victory points for sectors, so I can combine these cards in order to receive more victory points. So I'm finished. What's happening? Again, the other players play, everybody played, everybody's happy, and then we start moving the planets in the universe, in the solar system. Everything is moving. So, and now the constellation you can see is different. Again, it's 4 action points if you want to fly. For me, it's only 2. So then what I'm doing now, I don't know. Now, yeah, of course, I'm here. Up, I'm here. I'm on Mars, still on Mars. And because I'm here, I will unload the last blue module. And I can only, that's what I have, which is very important. You can only unload something from the depot, I mean a module. Or you can only put a module on a surface of a planet if you have an order. That means if you have a complex that needs this building. Otherwise, I cannot put it here. But I could put it in my rocket. If I want to get rid of it out of the depot, I can put it in my rocket if my rocket is on the same planet at the same time. And then if I want to put it, I don't put it, of course, in sector 1 or sector 4. I put it far away in sector 2, for example, because I don't want to endanger my domination. But on the other hand, at the same time, I helped the blue player right now because he dominates now sector 2. So I have always the advantages and disadvantages, like always. So, okay, I put it there. Again, I was the guy who did it. So I put my yellow token on the blue module here. And as you can see, I have 3 tokens here representing the 3 modules on the planet surface. And this must always be like this. That the numbers must be the same. Because I can only put a module on a surface of a planet if I have a complex that says I need this module. Yeah, I hope this is clear. So it's almost finished. What I can do next, but first of all, I forgot to gain my income, my passive income. So I had 11. Now I moved the module, so I have 8 left. What I do next is I activate the robot. So I pay already 3, 1, 2, 3 action points. And now I show you how to activate a robot. You take the robot, you say, this is my robot now. And in order to activate it, you have to move it. So I move it, and that's cost me 3 action points. And this time I can move it on the surface of the planet, anywhere, but not on the same field as the rocket, for example, or if there's already another astronaut or robot, I cannot put it on the same field. That's not possible. So, but now I can put it here on this not yet finished complex. Doesn't matter, because if the complex is finished, I will use this robot to produce research points into this yellow complex. And the astronaut can also go into the complexes, but the astronaut has at the beginning the advantage he can go in every colored complex. He can go into yellow, in blue, green, red complex. The robot can only go at the beginning into yellow complexes. If you can change this with development, you can do research, and he can then also go in other colored complexes. So I moved it in here, and I moved my astronaut as well. I move it here because in the next round, in the next round, I want to produce this resource here. And in order to do that, I have to put it next, one field next to the mine or on the mine, doesn't matter. And at the same time, I can increase my income, because for every astronaut or robot that stands next to my own colored modules, I will receive an extra action point at the end of the round. It doesn't matter how many modules are next to my astronaut. It's only once per astronaut, and next to any yellow module, I will get one action point extra. And the same with the astronauts. The astronaut can, at the beginning, he cannot produce resources in mines, but I can also develop this, and he gets this ability. If I do research, he can also produce my resources in mines. Depot. The depot is now empty, and if it's empty, I can use it as well for building a complex there. I can take it off, and I can put a complex here. It's a new space for a complex. Right now, I don't need the space because I have 3 spaces left to build complexes. But if you are many players, you will soon get a problem with space, and that's good if you finish complex depots, so you have new spaces to build complexes. Okay, so I have to pay for my astronaut. I moved it into next to the mine, so I have 2 action points left, and that means I cannot do anything. So I wait for the next round. The next player plays. Everybody played. The round is finished, and now again the planets get moved. So, okay, and Saturn slowly approaches the end of the game, but this takes a few rounds, as you can see. Yeah, so I get my passive income, and because I have this astronaut next to at least one yellow module, hopla, I receive now not only 10 but 11. So that means I get 13 action points. I have 13 action points right now. What else can I do? I show you, because now I have a lot of action points, and I can show you what I can do as well. I didn't tell this already. So you can also move an astronaut into the development board. And I will do that just to show you. I take 3 action points, and I move this astronaut in here just to say I want to accomplish level 2 missions. And the special thing about this is the astronaut doesn't care about the costs. It only costs me the 3 action points, and that's it. I don't need to pay research points for that. And that's especially interesting if I choose something that costs, for example, six research points. I only have to pay 3 action points. So the astronaut is universal. He can also work in the base of the player, or he can be sent to the planets. Of course, if I take him out again after a while because I need him somewhere else, then I lose this advantage again. That's clear. So I did this so I can accomplish these missions here. And now I produce 1 silver, and that's something I want also to show you now right now. If I subtract this, means I have 7 left. I get this silver resource, and what can I do with the silver resource? Of course, I want to finish my yellow complex, but in general, I can put it just on the planet, anywhere, doesn't matter. Because I want to take it later. Then the danger in this is another player can come and load it and take it. If I can put it next to my astronaut or robot, then it's safe. Nobody else can take it. I can also put it in my rocket. And why should I do that? At the beginning of the game, I told you I can put 1 resource per space. Of course, it's like the same with the astronauts or the robots or the modules. And I could fly to Earth. And if I'm on Earth again with my rocket, I can trade them. I can trade my resources. I can put them, for example, in here and receive. It doesn't matter which one. Every resource has the same value. I put one in here, and I receive 1 victory point, and that's I put it here. I put it in my account for later. The good thing about it is other players that needs maybe the resource, they can take it real quick. They don't want to stop somewhere and produce a resource. They are on Earth anyway, and they see there are some resources. They can take it. They don't have to pay or something. They just take it. And they pay with action points because they load it. They just load this, and they can, if the rocket is not right now on the Earth, they can put it in this resource depot and later on put it in the rocket again with loading. It's always loading if you take resources or modules. And of course, if another player takes this resource out of this market, the player who put it in doesn't lose the victory points. Yeah. Okay. And it's the same with the research points or the action points. So, yeah, but I don't put this into my rocket and fly it home. I take another one now, it doesn't matter. I take this just in here and put it in this complex just in order to finish this complex. And this is not a loading action. It's still producing. That means if I produce, I have the output and I have to put it somewhere. That's not loading, it's producing. Okay. And this costs me 3 action points. And now I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I paid it. No. So 4. I paid for it. And I have 4 left. Yeah. Okay. And now I show you another thing. I produce, because now it's finished, I can produce with my robot. That's why I have him there. I produce research points. And that means again 3 action points. And this one has an output of 2 research points plus 1 because it's on Mars. So that means 3 research points, and I put them on here again. So I have 4 now. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Then I think I have shown you almost everything in this game. There are 3 things left. The first thing is I have to show you what is module's second generation. Then I have to show you the last action, which is switching missions or complexes. And then I have to show you the end of the game and the calculating of the victory points. That's the 3 things that are left. And then I've shown you everything in this game. So, first thing, modules generation 2, special modules. For this modules, I don't need any complex with a plan that I can build this module. I can just I can just take them and fly them to anywhere into the sectors in order to keep my domination. That's the purpose of these modules. For example, if I lose a domination somewhere, but I need it because I have 2 missions, for example, and I want to have the extra victory points, I just take a module generation 2 of my color and fly it there and put it there without any complex. Because I want to keep the domination in the sector. That's the only reason why you have these modules. Okay. But a prerequisite is, of course, at least one of the modules generation 1 must be built there already, or must be there. Another thing is, once you have put a module on a surface of a planet, you cannot remove it anymore. It's built, so it's there forever. Yeah. Okay, only if you finish the game and put it back in your box, you can, of course, take them off the planet. So, that's the thing with the generations, with the second generation modules. And then we have another thing. Now I show you the last action. Let's assume I have not only 1 action point, I have 5, for example. So now I want to switch. I say, this mission I don't like. I will not fly to Ganymede, to Rhea anyway. So I switch this one. I take 3 off, so I have 2 action points left. And now I look, and some, of course, there are already missions that are available for everybody. It's the same with the complexes that you can see. You can take them. Right now, there's nothing, or you take them out of the stack. And I put this one back, and this one now, if I don't want it, I take it. I put it next to the missions openly, and this one I take this new one, I've switched it, and now I can see, I need to control 2 robots in Rhea where I didn't want to go, so it doesn't matter. That's bad luck. Yeah. Okay. Second thing, I showed you switching the last action, and we have done every action available in this game already. Yeah. So now let's assume planet Saturn reached the marker. The game is over, the last round is played, and now you have to calculate who won the game. Everything is described here. First point is every contribution in a complex is worth 1 victory point. So this is 3 victory points, all these tokens. Then any build complex in my own color, that's what I said. That's written here on my player card. Okay, I get three victory points because I built one complex. It doesn't matter who built it, but in this game I built it. So this third one is special moon or planet victory points. It's this one. I get one extra because on Mars for yellow complexes I get one extra victory point. Then we have the next thing is special victory points on some complexes, and that's I don't have right now, but that's what I described earlier. For example, this one. If this complex was built and I have is finished, everything is completed, and I had moved my astronaut or my robot in this complex, I will receive 3 victory points or up to 2 victory points if I have put in 2 units in there. And because I am the yellow player, the technologist, I also receive special complex victory points, another victory point for each complex that has special victory points. So, but I don't have this anyway, so it doesn't matter. Then domination of sectors with own color modules, 2 victory points. And I dominate 2 different, even without this one. I dominate 2 sectors, so I get 4 victory points. Then missions accomplished. I have developed level 2 missions, so I'm able to accomplish this mission, and I dominate 2 different sectors, so I get another 2 victory points. I have not finished any other mission, doesn't matter. And then the last thing is I get victory points for resources I traded in. So I didn't do it in the game, but I showed you. So this would be this 1 victory point I've received for trading in the silver resource. So that's all of it. All together gives a number, and the player with the highest number wins the game. That's it. I hope I didn't forget anything. I hope it was not too difficult to listen to me or to understand it. And I'm grateful, I'm thankful that you listened to my explanations, and I wish you a lot of fun playing this game. So thank you very much.